You are live. All right, I'm live, folks. I'm live. Going to be streaming this one on all three platforms today as well. See how that works out. We got it going on the YouTube. We got it on Rumble. Yeah, actually mention YouTube. Oh, and of course on Facebook. Actually mentioning YouTube. Let me bring that up. Okay. Not sure if you folks have heard this or not, but apparently, if you're in Europe, you can't even get RT Russia television on YouTube, not just through your cable broadcast networks, the old dinosaur, the establishment, but even on that's the thing. Some of these upstarts, these social media platforms, I mean, they're not upstarts anymore, but they were meant to challenge the status quo, right? To give us alternative sources for news and information, right? To be a backstop against the suppression of information. But as we've seen, out with the old guard. Actually, the old guard's not even out yet, and the new guard's already stepped into place, right? So, anyways, but the beautiful thing about sites such as Rumble is, yeah, you're not going to have to worry about that. Just like today, I saw Odyssey. Actually, there's a tweet that the folks of Odyssey. If you haven't followed me on Odyssey, by the way, yeah, I got a channel over there, and of course, Canadian Libertarian is the name of the channel. But yeah, Odyssey is going to put RT on their platform, and that's the thing. It's so hilarious. It's like to try to silence and what is RT? That's the hilarious part too. Is what is RT? It's Russia's state-funded broadcaster, their state-funded propaganda network, basically the Russian equivalency of the CBC, right? So, but yet, you're not hearing anyone. I mean, I know I've been saying, you folks have probably been saying, but I just want to defund. I'm just sick of being forced to pay for the CBC, but I would never suggest that it should cease to exist. Well, I mean, if it's viable, right? If people want to consume it, by all means. But the fact that they want to, destroy your ability to get alternative sources of information, I mean, that's done. I mean, come on. Like, we're all adults here. Other adults are telling you, I just don't trust you to be able to, read an article from a Russian newspaper or watch a segment or a television program or a video from the RT network. I just can't trust you, right? To be able to figure this stuff out on your own. So I have to force you to only be able to see what I present as information. First of all, who the fuck is stupid enough to trust anyone that says you just have to trust me? Don't look anywhere else for information. Just trust that I'm always going to be truthful and honest to you. Meanwhile, the people that are telling you that are the biggest fucking liars, right? It's like they've spent their whole lives, their whole careers lying to you, but yet they want you to trust them for some reason. But anyways, like I say, so all this pretense and you see some of these, of course, what a weird, that's the thing with the strange bedfellows now. So you got Pierre Polyev now. It's so weird. I'm pretty much to the point now where I'm just so over with politics because every time I get to the point where I'm thinking there might be just one person out there, right? No, but I mean, so Pierre Polyev, as he's tweeting, and yeah, he's been tweeting now. He's a big fan and sending weapons to Ukraine and stuff. First of all, my response to him was, "Hey Pierre, you got some beautiful kids there and a beautiful wife. Are you willing to sacrifice yourself, go over to Ukraine, fight for them? Because if you're not, shut your fucking mouth and stop advocating for other people to do that, dipshit." And second of all, like I say, if you look through his tweet, this is the hilarious part, and that's the thing. People like Pierre Polyev and all these dipshits now that identify as conservatives. Strangely enough, like to be on the opposite political side of the political divide or aisle. Well, guess who's all supporting Pierre Polyev and agreeing with Pierre Polyev today? Yeah, the NPCs, the lefties, like Antifa and Pierre Polyev. You're in total agreement today. How's that feel, Pierre? That should, if you're on the side of the very people you claim to be against, right? And I'm talking the very people, these Antifa people, Pierre, they're the kind of people that, like I say, other than this one thing, and trust me, they're not agreeing with you because they're friendly or want to be or agreeing with you. They just as quick in a heartbeat love to see you in the gulag, right? But yet, these are the people, what you're trying. Anyways, and then then we got to get the point. The most important thing here, folks, actually, is the fact that, think about it. So Trudeau and his bunch of authoritarian counterparts and the media mouthpieces. And not just, but I mean, think of it. This Canada is this country of Canada, like our country, is so divided right now. And people are so, especially one side of the political divide, is so disenfranchised, right? Been beaten down. And think about it. Trudeau, the guy that loathes the military, can't stand people in the military, has spent years since he's been in power insulting and deriding those in the military, right? Disparaging them. And now is what? Like, this is the thing with all these idiots that are talking about, conflict and war. Do you not realize that once you've created a situation in your country such as Canada, where you have the population not just massively divided, and we know just how divided this country is, but the people that you would need and require to stand up to fight if a conflict actually takes place, right? If Canadian military members in any way have to get involved, whether it's in a foreign conflict or if that conflict ever comes to the shore, you have to rely on the very people that Trudeau has been busy deriding, insulting, right? I mean, think about the kind of people, right, who have that kind of mentality or that kind of courage or those kinds of convictions. Yeah, the very people that can't stand Trudeau. And there's not much. I mean, Trudeau was the guy's like, it's a post-national state, right? Not that I'm once again, I'm not a fan of statism here. I'm just pointing out the reality is, how do you create this scenario or situation where this country is completely divided, right? Basically segregated, and the side that you need, like I say, to be the defenders of your freedoms and liberties and all this stuff, and that's the thing. Don't even give. I've got so much to say today, folks. I'm going to be all over the place. I got to tell you, because this is crazy stuff. But can you imagine? Like I say, there's got to be some wise people. I know it sure as fuck isn't Trudeau. I know it sure as fuck isn't Freeland. I know it sure shit isn't that Mendocino or whatever the hell that guy's name is. Any of these liberals or the conservatives, is there any adults there to talk to these, like go into the House of Commons or somewhere and just say, listen. I get it. You're all playing politics and you love kicking around that political football. But hey, you want to tamp down the bullshit? You want to tamp down the rhetoric? This isn't a fucking television show. This isn't a video game. This isn't a series on Netflix. This is real life. This is a nuclear power you're dealing with. A nuclear power that's pissed off from the constant encroachment of the West. And once again, not me picking side, just pointing out reality, folks. And you want to keep poking at that particular bear. Like I said, unless you're the kind of person, and ask people in my life, I've said this right there, don't poke the bears. Like, I mean, I've said this so many times. I'm a fairly, rugged individual. I've handled myself. I've been into situations and I can handle myself really well. Many times in my life, I've proven that so. But I still wouldn't go out and fucking poke a bear, right? I mean, come on. I'm smart enough. I'm wise enough to know, probably not a good idea to go around poking bears, right? As a matter of fact, even if you happen to have a rifle with you, sure, the rifle will give you at least a decent shot at it, but things can happen. Accidents, mistakes, right? Whoops. Forgot to load one in the chamber. Whoops, dropped it, or whoops, missed. All kinds of things. And then next thing you know, you're scat in the middle of the forest somewhere, right? So this kind of stuff is insane. And the other thing is just how political. I mean, we should expect this anyways, of course. It's just everything is political these days. Everything is you got to see it through the binary lens of it. It's either right or left, right? So crazy. Anyways, I haven't even had a chance here to look back onto the StreamYards page here. I've just been rambling on, but I'm going to see if there's a few people that have rolled in here. Yeah, because I'm a little bit fired up, Things are getting really, really crazy. And not just all this stuff and that, but the fact that everybody seems to be completely forgotten and overlooked. COVID has been forgotten now. The emergencies, the invocations, the fact that Trudeau basically declared war on some of his own citizens. Some of them to this day are still sitting in jail cells, right? They had their bank accounts seized, and that's still taking place. Yeah, even though the Emergency Act has been supposedly withdrawn, but that's still taking place. And I'll get to that article here in a little bit. Anyways, if I don't, all this stuff, anything I talk about, trust me, it's going to be linked in the description of the stream below. But that's still taking place. What's that? Tamara Lich, she's still in jail. Apparently, the third guy, too, the guy that was doing the meetings and stuff, apparently he's in jail and been denied bail as well. I mean, these are political prisoners in Canada, and they're people who. Where's the violence? Can we at least see? And I mean, they're being charged with something as stupid as mischief or solicit to mischief or advocating whatever the hell that thing is. Basically, enticing others to be mischievous, which is a very, very low crime in reality, folks. A really, that's one of the lower end crimes on the lower end, but yet they're all held. And as far as I know, this Lich woman, she doesn't even have a criminal record, but yet she's being held because she might reoffend. Well, what might she do? What did she do? Could you fucking tell me what the fuck it was that she did that was such a crime? Right? No, but once again, political prisoners in Canada. The prime minister of the country declared war on his own people, seized their accounts, locked them up, arrest them, had his goons, right? Trample them, beat them, spray them, demoralize them. You've seen what's taking place out there. And yet, like I say, it's all seemingly forgotten not by people like us, of course, but the establishment and their mindless minions have seemingly all that's been forgotten. It's all in the rear view. And they're all so overly concerned with what's taking place on Russia's front doorstep, aka Ukraine. Really? Didn't give a flying fuck. Yeah, actually, this definitely won't be monetized. Well, I don't monetize my streams anyways, because this is when I kind of let things get really free, right? But anyways, where was I going with that? But did not care. Matter of fact, not only did the people, these lefties, these fucking authoritarian collectivists, all these dipshits, these Trudeau followers, these NDP dipshits, not only did they not defend the working class and care about any of those freedoms for the working class or anything, but apparently they care a whole lot about the freedoms of the Ukrainian people. Don't give a flying fuck about your freedoms. Don't give a flying fuck about my freedoms. Don't give a flying fuck about anyone else's freedoms except maybe their own, right? But they got bleeding hearts pouring all over the place, weeping today for the people of Ukraine. And once again, I'm not picking sides in that conflict. I feel bad for anybody involved because once again, when you're talking about wars, the truth of the matter is you're going to have, whether they're Ukraine or Russian, you're going to have just a bunch of mostly regular people, right? That outside of when the state tells them that they got to fucking go kill other people, at home, they got families, they probably got kids, they probably got neighbors and co-workers, everybody's acting all, and for the most part, they're all thinking of each other. Oh, we're all great people. Well, until the state, until your political master all of a sudden decides and determines, well, I've got some enemies for you. I'm going to point them out to you, and you just go kill them. But are you sure? Are they all going to my enemy? Can you point out at least the ones for sure that are my enemies and are really bad people? No. Just if they happen to actually have a uniform on, and they're not their badge, but their whatever the hell you call it when you're in the military. Their patch, right? Or their flag, right? If it's a different color than this one, well, you got to kill them. So, like I say, it turns human beings' minds instantly into mush where they will just go pick up arms and kill another human being or many other human beings for nothing more than blind loyalty to a bunch of authoritarians, to the state, to the idea of the state, which is pure violence at its core. It is force at its core. This is why I am not a statist. This is why I'm not a nationalist. This is why I'm a libertarian, folks. And I'm so glad that I am. And I wear that with pride and honor because I am not, and that's the thing, patriarch. Listen, like I say, when me or the people I care about are a threat, and yes, there's many of them in this country we call Canada, in this province, we call them the Brunswick. If their lives, if their freedoms are threatened from an external a foreign threat, of course I'm willing to pick up some arms. And that's the other thing, right? Think about how quickly that takes place. In Ukraine, one day it would have been illegal for you to just be walking down the street killing people. But the minute the state says it's okay, or conflicts happen, well, all the bullshit stops then. The weapons are picked up. Then everybody has to start fucking really thinking about things. And if you don't think that can come to this country, this is the thing with these people. Once that shit starts, good luck putting that genie back in the bottle, right? And in this country, like I say, There's so much pent up hostility and division. Mm-mm-mm. I tell you, like I say, this is not going to work out good for anyone. It's not going to work out good for Russia. Not going to work out good for Ukraine. And the pretense of pulling Russia out of SWIFT, which is the nuclear option, as I'm hearing people say, which is basically trying to starve Russia out of being able to trade or keep their country going, kind of deal economically. And then after the fact, with the knowledge, it's not that long ago, right? The collapse of Russia, what was it, 90, 89, 90? The collapse of the Soviet Empire, the Berlin Wall, that was quite humiliating. I don't doubt for 1 minute for the Putins of the world or many of those other Russian, loyalists or nationalists. You don't think they're going to be a little pissed off these days? And do you think they're willing to just back down so easily or give up? I don't think so. I personally, I don't think so. And like I say, I don't want nothing to do with these kind of conflicts, and I'm sure most of you people don't. But anyways, like I say, before I continue on into too much of my rambling, let's just see what you folks are saying in the chat. What's going on new in the West? Atheism is increasing with Christianity decreasing, vice versa in Russia. The New World Order loves atheism and hates Christianity. I get what you're saying there, new, and that's very well could be. But once again, religion in terms of Christianity, it can be superior to the state for sure. But like I say, to me, no matter if you're using it under the pretense of the religion of Christianity or the pretense of the religion of the state, anyone who's willing, that's what I mean. Like, how can anyone claim to be Christians and want to go kill people? I don't know. It's such a messed up thing. But anyways, neither of these people represent true Christianity or what the New Testament, in particular, the Bible represents, right? No war. Right? No. But anyways, I'm just going to move on there. But hello from Miracle Beach, British Columbia. Hello. How are you doing today? Hello. Hey, Plant Boy, I haven't seen you in a while. Nice to see you in the chat. Rodney Boots, right? I identify as a pineapple. Okay. All right. Not sure what that means, but is it the yellow? I'm joking. Just trying to read into that comment there. Klaus Schwab was saying that Trudeau was the best student coming out of the World Economic Forum. He also went on to brag about half of the government in Canada also participated in the forum. Yeah, I seen that too. Yep. I'm aware of that one. Let's see. Check out the Deputy Prime Minister. Grandfather was Nazi, fourth in line from Hitler. Yeah, I actually shared that already. And actually, CBC News had to do a retraction and put up on their own website back when they tried to deny that fact. And Ombudsman called them out on it. I believe I put that on. Where did I share that on? But yeah, I'm very much, like I say, I posted it all over all my social media pages. But yeah, for sure. Well, that's the other thing though. Communists, fascists, socialists, right? They're all forms of authoritarian collectivism. It's like pick your poison. But to me, it's like I'm not a fan of any of them. The guy that ran over the demonstrators get out on bail. Yeah, I saw that too. You mean here in Canada, that guy that ran? Yeah, he did get out on jail. I know, right? Not so Freeland has a grandpa. Yeah, I know, right? I know. Yep, and it's all legit. Like I say, even the CBC had to retract their bullshit propaganda, their lies to suggest that she wasn't, and actually own up to it, admit it. I like your hair. My boy got his swag back. Thanks, John Doe. Appreciate it. Okay, come on now. Those people are radical right-wing extremists who had the nerve to protest our democratically elected Gloria Slater, right? I know. It's so true. Like, and in any other country, you would say that's just a pure dictatorship. Like I said, just remove the country and point out all the things that happen in Canada, right? And you say, oh, you talking about Russia? Are you talking about Venezuela? You talking about, I don't know, whatever, some other authoritarian regime? It's like, no, that was Canada. Yeah, they basically invoked what replaced the War Measures Act, right? The Emergencies Act. They invoked the Emergencies Act, which would typically be used for something akin to a war, which I guess kind of makes sense to Trudeau because, like I say, he literally, you might not even figure. That's the thing. It's not even figuratively. He literally, by invoking the Emergency Act, invoked war, declared war on a small minority, fringe people who have acceptable views in this country, right? So who's the real bully? Really? Come on. But anyways, yeah, it's so crazy. So crazy, right? If Putin protests are legal, then he probably is a good. I don't think any of them. That's what I mean. When you're talking about status, I don't think any of them are good. None of them are good, right? That's the beauty about you know not being a status, like of having that kind of clarity of mind and not being entrenched or indoctrinated into that kind of cultism is I don't have to worry about that stuff. It's because yeah, I'm not applauding Putin and his regime or whatever hell the guy is in Ukraine and his regime or Canada or US. Like I said, I'm a libertarian. I don't believe any of us should have rulers, right? Or owners or masters. Simple as that. I believe in the sovereignty of the individual. That's the thing they talk about. The sovereignty of the state. Well, what the fuck is the state? Could you point that to me on a map? Well, they'd be like, well, it's this thing. All right. Well, all I see is a picture of a two-dimensional. What do you mean by state? Um, if I zoom in, if we do a Google, if we go Google Earth and I zoom in far enough, when we get down to where you start seeing the trees, is that the state? No? Oh, no, no. Okay. Zoom in a little over, maybe move over this way towards like the transportation areas. Oh, is that road? Is that the state? Oh no, 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 that's just the road. Um, well, how about that rail line? That must be the state. Oh no, that's just a rail line. Oh, okay, okay. Okay, I get it. Let me move closer into the city. Let me go over to Kiev here. Okay. Oh, look, there's a big city called Kiev. That must be the state, right? No, 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 no. That's just the capital of the state. Oh, okay. Well, there's a building there. That looks like a pretty important building. Is that the state? No, that's just a building. Well, what the fuck is the state? There is no. It's like, what you could ask someone that forever, and they'll never be able to explain it to you. You know why? Because it's a fabrication, a concept, right? That does not exist in real life. In people's minds, it does. Sure, it exists up here as a concept, but out there in the real world where we live, where is this state thing? No, all I see is a bunch of people. Now, there are some people who are believers in the concept of the state. They're the ones who are constantly inflicting harm or entering into wars or battles that cause death and devastation and destruction on all sides, right? But within the confines of these states are other innocent victims, aka just normal people who want to live their lives, people like you or I, and deal with each other on a voluntary basis. And the only time violence is genuinely used is when you need to defend yourself, right? That's the kind of, but once again, statism is so powerful. It tricks the mind. Like this is what I mean, folks. This one, and people in 100 or 200 years, if we get beyond this kind of stupidity, trust me, when they talk about it, like I say, you've ever seen those things when the alien comes down and they talk and it's like, think about it. And they start explaining to you, oh yeah, these people, they used to believe in giving like powers to these other fallible human beings that are imperfect souls themselves, but they give them all this power and authority, but they just show up every few years and they check off a box and then they might cheer on and applaud. At first, you'd probably think it was just a sport team thing, right? Or a sport venue or some kind of a competition. But no, no. Like I say, these people give all these people or give this small group of people all this power to steal from them, to control them socially, to control them economically, to manipulate their worth, their value, right? They lock them in cages for the most arbitrary bullshit, right? Take away their licenses, shut down their. I mean, who would ever think that would be a good idea if you're going to draw something up from scratch and how humans could be or how we could live amongst each other peacefully, right? You definitely wouldn't have the state, right? No, it might have been better if some other options in the past. No doubt, maybe, maybe not. Don't know. Wasn't there to give actual real world evidence to find out actually is a monarchy. I tell you the truth, the best evidence I would have is if I had lived under all the monarchies, but that's the thing, I'm one human being, I cannot. So it's really hard to make that determination. But I got to tell you, statism, one thing I am certain of, and for sure, well, at least in the 19th, 20th, and 21st century, statism has definitely been the most dangerous religion on the planet. More so, obviously, in the 20th, and we're already seeing a pretty freaking nasty ramp up of this shit in the 21st, and we're quite earlier on so far. So, how this goes, folks, don't know how this goes, but anyways, let's see what's going on here with Darren Chika, 442. Ooh, 442 Olds Cutlass, 4-barrel, 4-speed, dual exhaust. Ukrainian refugees wanted to go to UK instead of Canada. Says a lot, eh? I know, right? Could you blame them? Could you freaking blame them? I'd be like, if you're Ukraine, it's like, well, no, I don't want to go to that Canada. Well, where that Trudeau guy is? No, I want to leave one. I'm leaving one war zone. I don't want to get into another. I want to be treated with respect and free. I want to go somewhere with freedom and liberty. And you know what? The crazy part of it is yeah, even the UK is much, much, much better off in terms of respecting people's freedom today. Not Canada. Not Canada. What a crazy thing. What a crazy thing. And actually, that's the thing when you talk about the refugees. I saw, I believe it was Glenn Greenwald who was sharing this morning, or it was actually this afternoon, where there's a substantial portion of them that are actually going from Ukraine into Russia, like 150,000 or so. So it showed a breakdown of like 30,000 or so going to Lithuania. Quite a high number, I believe 100 or maybe 85,000 or something that went into Poland. High number into Poland, you know. So they're fleeing and going to particular jurisdictions. But you see a huge swath of them, actually the largest single digit number, right, going to each country. Now, there was more in terms of all the people going to different Western countries. The totality of that was a higher number than the ones that were fleeing to Russia. But that number fleeing to Russia, that was a substantial number, right? So it suggests that this is what I mean. There's a lot more nuance to this Ukraine-Russian conflict than what the West is representing. The way the West, the way the politicians, the propagandists, the media mouthpieces in this country are playing it up is Russia bad, Ukraine great. Yeah, just disregard the fact that there's actual real Nazis in Ukraine too, right? And Majid Nawaz, I follow him on Twitter. Great guy in terms of getting that information out. The Guardian, he shared the articles, all the mainstream. It's like, hey, Majid, I do that too, man. Good stuff. No, but he showed and he broke it down. Look, here's all these mainstream media articles pointing out that there's actual real Nazis in Ukraine. Real. With pictures and everything, right? But yeah, we're all supposed to just forget about and disregard that and just remember Putin, bad. Ukraine and everyone there that's on that side of the thing, good. And this is the other thing. I brought this up. Like I said, I'm going to be a little bit all over the place, folks, but I got to bring this up because this was something that I remembered. And you know what? Not only did I remember it, but the beautiful thing about the internet is the internet remembers too. Where is that? I'm trying to find it. Just give me a sec here, folks. Oh, wait a minute. Well. I can't find my article. Okay, let me go back here then. Just one sec here, folks. Ah, there we go. Is this the one with the video? I'll play the one with the actual video in it so you can hear it. Yeah, there it is. So this is the Guardian 2 right here. Okay. Actually, let me just bring this right on this, share it right on the screen. Share screen. Chrome. There we go. All right, let's just make sure you folks can see that. Yeah, maybe I'll just throw myself in the old picture-in-picture and make that bigger. Yeah. All right. We'll do that. That looks good. Looks good. Looking good. Hopefully the stream is holding up there for you folks and not seeing the quality take a crap kick. Oh, that's another thing. Talk about that Starlink. Yeah. See, that's the thing about, yeah. Elon Musk is supplying, but non-lethal, just to help, right? And that's the thing. He's helping. He sent over a bunch of Starlink units over to Ukraine to help them because of the fact that their internet might be fucked with or affected negatively, right? That's a good thing, right? Yeah. Rather than sending weapons, right? They're just going to cause more death and destruction. Because that's the other thing too. If there's no potential for Ukraine to win this war, unless, like I say, unless what all the allies win, it's going to be a World War III. Because if it's just going to remain a Russia versus Ukraine conflict, well, I got to tell you, unless Russia fucks up so bad, and I know everyone's saying, "Oh, Putin's an idiot and he's really fucking up and he's blundering this." It's like, I mean, he has to continue to blunder nonstop for a long time before Ukraine is going to what defeat Russia in a war. Like so if you're arming them for all these fucking idiots in Canada or all these places saying, yeah, give all these people weapons. All right. The more weapons you get, the more war you're going to get. The more war you're going to get, the more fucking people are going to fucking die. Like, this is the thing. It's like, yeah, let's, all right. I mean, you go ahead. Like I say, I'm not stupid enough to get involved in that crap, but those of you who are, and that's the other thing too, they've said in Ukraine, come on over. They're going to waive visas. They're going to waive visas entirely. Don't even have to worry about it. Jump on a plane. Matter of fact, if you're vaxxed, if you're fully vaxxed and you're a big proponent of war, you support the Trudeau liberals, yeah, and you want to go protect the Ukrainian people because you're obviously unvaccinated. That's the other thing too. The unvaccinated couldn't even go if they tried, right? Because in Canada, we're trapped in our own country, right? But yeah, if you're vaxxed, if you're fully vaxxed up, then yeah, go right now. I want to see them. Matter of fact, I want to see it. I won't be holding my fucking breath, but I want to see all these lefties or these dipshit Trudeau acolytes or fanboys and girls. I want to see all, put on some garb, right? Get on an airplane, get over there to Ukraine, pick up an arm, right? A weapon, AK-47, get yourself a Kalashnikov and go over there and go fight yourself some Russians, some little green man. Go on over there, see how well that works out for you. Bunch of, like I say, they love to talk tough, right? Till the shit hits the fan and they turn, they kind of act just like Trudeau did. Actually, that's the thing. The protesters, the truck drivers, didn't even threaten them with anything. No weapons or nothing. Not even with their truck. They didn't say, we're going to run them over. Right? No threats of violence, nothing. And what was Trudeau? There's truck drivers coming on Ottawa. Let me go hide somewhere. Yeah. But yeah. Oh, they're all so tough. They want to go fight a war in fucking Ukraine. Like, really, though? Really? Like, what the fuck? Like, another perfect example. Actually, I remember I shared this on my social media page. Let me find this. It's just a short little one here, but yes, so funny. Oh, yeah, here it is. Liberal supporters are scared to death of a virus that has a 99% survival rate for everyone other than the most vulnerable among us. That's right. You notice how I included all that? So that they can't even fact check me? Anyways, yet are anxiously and vigorously beating on the drums of war. These people really are deranged. No, but think about that. They're scared of think about the typical people who are out there supporting and promoting this war with Ukraine right now, right? Sending weapons and pumping up, like I say, drums of war, just beating intensely on them, right? These are the very fucking people who are scared to death to go outside or to go to the mall or to go to the gym or, I don't know, fucking do anything because there's a virus that, like I say, 99% of us who are not the most aged, elderly, and vulnerable have a full survival rate, a 99% survival rate on, right? But yet, they're so tough. They're going to go over, which is that's a pretty minor threat. But yeah, if you get into an actual war, your chance of death goes up quite exponentially, right? Oh my God, the hypocrisy that's on display it's palpable. Matter of fact, I'm starting to feel sick about it. Joking, but anyways, let me get back to this this Guardian thing. Because like I say, I remembered this. It was hard to try to remember what this woman's name was because I'm trying to Google search it. And every time you try to Google anything, like I remember there was a hot mic thing. So I was like trying to type in hot mic, but there's so many. There's the Obama hot mic, there's the Trump hot mic. So I was like, it was so hard for me, but I actually did find it. And like I say, just like with the even on Guardian's website, but you also have multiple archives. So even if the Guardian decide to take this down, you have multiple backups and redundancies of articles such as this on places such as archive.org, archive.is, all kinds of different archive websites out there. But anyway, so like I say, so this was, remember this? This is all about Ukraine too. So this stuff has been going on for quite some time. This particular article's back in February of 2014. 8 years ago, basically, exactly, right? Fuck the EU. U.S. diplomat Victoria Nuland's phone call leaked video. The Assistant U.S. Secretary of State Victoria Nuland has apologized after a phone conversation about the political crisis in Ukraine was leaked on the internet. The call between Nuland and a U.S. ambassador focused on the future of the country if it gains a new government. Nuland declined to comment on private diplomatic conversations. So anyways, I'll just play a little bit of it here. Hopefully you folks will be able to hear it just fine.
When you're a high-ranking official talking about diplomatic efforts in Ukraine...
Wait a minute. Oh, the phone. Get to change up the... there we go. Put it on a louder part here.
When you're a high-ranking official talking about diplomatic efforts in Ukraine, the last thing you want to do is drop your guard.
So that would be great, I think, to help glue this thing, and have the UN help glue it, and, the EU.
But that is exactly what reportedly happened between US Assistant Secretary of State Victoria Nuland and US Ambassador to Ukraine Jeffrey Pyatt. The exchange has since surfaced online, including the crude swipe at the European Union. The audio clip of a woman and man said to be Nuland and Pyatt is them discussing strategies to work with the three main opposition figures.
I don't think Klitsch should go into the government. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's a good idea.
In terms of him not going into the government, just let him sort of stay out and do his political homework and stuff. I'm just thinking, in terms of sort of the process moving ahead, we want to keep the moderate Democrats together. The problem is going to be talking about the big guys. And, I'm sure that's part of what Yanukovych is calculating on all of this.
I think Yats is the guy who's got the economic experience, the governing experience. He's the guy, what he needs is Klitsch and Tony Book on the outside. You need to be talking to them 4 times a week. I just think Klitsch going in, he's going to be at that level.
Anyways, folks, that's all I'm going to, I won't play the entirety of this video. Like I said, I'll place everything in the description of this stream below. I mean, yeah, it sounds like, oh, we don't want this person here. We want this person here. Sounds like something that the U.S. is very much known for. And like I say, when I say U.S., I'm talking about the U.S. government, not the U.S. people. I love a lot of those great American people. But when I talk about countries, I'm talking about the state, those who represent the government, those people who are in positions of so-called authority, right? But yeah, we're quite familiar with the fact that the U.S. has been on a regime change mission in not just Middle Eastern countries, but as we're hearing here, even in countries like Ukraine. And we're also well aware, especially of those of us who actually pay attention, that gradual increase, that crouch towards, and like I say, Ukraine is literally on the front door of Russia. And now they're trying to get Ukraine, Western allies such as U.S. and Canada and such, are trying to get Ukraine into NATO. And that is a red line for Russia. The red line is, the European Union, the Western allies, encroaching right up to his front door. That's the red line. That's why Putin's doing it. Am I defending Putin? No, I'm just pointing at the reality like some other fine people have done so. And I'm glad there are other people who are properly articulating this stuff, because if you just listen to the establishment media, well, you're getting it all wrong. And like I say, this information is vitally important for people to be thinking critically about this. Like, we're talking about conflict where people are dying. Not a good idea to just go by playing Team A or Team B kind of bullshit, right? So where else? Actually, I just want to, let's see. Get into the chat here a little bit, see what you folks are saying too. Oh yeah, the Ukraine refugees. That's where I was at. So down, did y'all know there's a channel, Bald and Bankrupt? Yeah, I've seen that guy. Actually, I've seen that guy, Bald and Bankrupt. Actually, it's funny you mention that, because we've watched him. Me and my wife have watched him a few times. We like watching He's all right. We like a couple other ones. There's a Kara and Nate. Yeah, Kara and Nate is another couple that, but yeah, I don't know. I think they went to Russia too. But anyways, travels Russia and stuff and gets real life stories. They all say Russia used to be great before democracy came and nothing but corruption and robbery. Well, like I say, that's the thing. Not that I defend, oligarchies or socialist regimes or communist regimes or dictators. But once again, democracy, which is basically the representation of the majority or mob rule, which in reality in Canada isn't even genuinely the majority rule. Although that's the thing. Whether the majority of people who are going to oppress you, or whether the people who are going to oppress you or treat you like garbage, whether they represent the majority of the people in your country or the minority, right? Does it really matter? It's people who want to oppress you and treat you like garbage, right? So I'm not a fan of any of them. I'm not a statist in any way, shape, or form, right? I'm not a big fan of democracy. I'm not a fan of republics, of dictators, monarchs. Like I say, it doesn't matter to me. I don't believe in giving anybody or any group the pretense of authority over me. It's just a stupid fucking thing to do. So that's just me. That's just me, folks. But I admit, I, like you folks, we're weird. we're exceptions to the rule these days. But actually, we're not weird. We're the ones that's sane. It's the rest who aren't. I tried reposting something from you on Facebook. They gave me a warning before. I know. Sorry about that. Listen, I've had especially with the whole Trudeau thing and the protesters and the truckers. It's like it almost immediately when that started happening, I got really heavy into the posting. Yeah, next thing I know, Facebook could put me on. Now, the 90 days hasn't even gone by, but it's only probably been a month, but I've already had 4 90-day. Now, I don't think they go concurrent, right? 90 days. However it works out, but I got 4 warnings, and they were all for fucking shit that was I had posted about COVID stuff, and it was actually truth, but you know how that goes. But yeah, I know. If you challenge the narrative these days, this is what they do to you, right? This is what they do. Oh, actually, I did find that article, said some on it here. It was from Reuters. I won't bring it up. I'll just read to you. But YouTube to block channels linked to Russia's RT and Sputnik across Europe. So yeah, so if you're in Europe, YouTube is going to be blocking. So just give you a quick rundown. March 1st, Reuters. YouTube is blocking channels connected. Whoops, I got to turn my mic back around. That would be nice, huh? Come on, Bennett. Get with it, buddy. All right. YouTube is blocking channels connected to Russia's state-backed media outlets RT and Sputnik across Europe effective immediately due to the situation in Ukraine. The company operated by Alphabet Inc., blah, 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 said on Tuesday. So, I mean, it's not like that's the thing. If you're in Europe, well, then just don't go on YouTube. To me, this is so stupid, YouTube. Why are you shooting yourself in your own proverbial foot? All you're doing is sending people elsewhere because it's not like these people are not going to get that information. And once again, why are you companies? Why is Alphabet? Well, once they remove the pretense of being evil, right, or not to be evil, look, they've really started to head down that direction, right? But what is the point of, like I say, out with the old guard? Well, the old guard is on its way out. And like I say, the YouTubes of the world, the Twitters, the Facebooks, they're looking to be the new guard, right? The new establishment. Out with the old establishment, in with the new. Well, like I say, folks, we've got to find better ways to navigate or deal with each other than through these terrible platforms who've now, like I say, turned towards the dark side. It's a shame. It's a shame because I personally like YouTube has there's so many excellent things about YouTube. So many excellent things about it. Right up until the people, right? Just like with anything, right up till you get to the point of the people who are fucking controlling it, right? Power has such a corrupting nature. Anyways, I won't bother reading the article. I think that was enough. Get you an idea of the fact that, like I say, so if you do want to get RT, like I say, Odyssey now they're going to be hosting on their actually let me for both parties in the USA launder money in Ukraine. Oh, no doubt about it. But actually, let me I'm going to open up an Odyssey here. I'll bring you folks along with me actually while I navigate and see if we can't See how easy it is to find, or if they've already put it up so far. Okay, share. Okay, so there's me. Oh, that's the wrong thing. That's not. Oh no, there it is. Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's the one. That's the one. Okay, so let's just go type in RT. RT. And let's see, did they already get them up there? Oh, yep, there they are. There they are. RT. Ooh, they're already at 5,000 followers. Most watched news network on YouTube. Just not in YouTube, right? Or at least not for the next little while. But like I say, at the very least, you can find RT. I'll follow RT. Why not? I don't even really watch RT much, but the fact that people are telling me I'm not allowed to, yeah, it makes me kind of want to now. What's going on? What don't you want me to see? Right. So yeah, I'll probably check it out. Besides, once again, you want to get multiple perspectives. To tell you the truth, I'd like to get the Ukraine perspective, some propaganda from Ukraine, maybe a couple sources. Maybe a couple sources from Russia, maybe a couple sources from Canada's propaganda outlets like CBC, CTV, right? Maybe some propaganda from the US, whether it's Fox, CNN, MSNBC. I want to hear all the propaganda. And I also want to hear from people who are actually trying to be, genuinely honest and forthright with people. I want to get all different forms of perspectives and opinions, and then do the adult thing, run all that stuff through the mind, and form my own opinions. Imagine that, huh? Imagine that a full-grown adult wants to be treated as such. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? Oh, the humanity. Anyways, but yeah, so yeah, while you're over there, and definitely check. I would definitely suggest that you like the Canadian Libertarian page over there in Odyssey as well. That guy's pretty cool. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, definitely, if you're in Europe, although I know a lot of you folks aren't in Europe, but if you do know someone in Europe, yeah, tell them, go on over to Odyssey, or I'm sure they themselves probably know alternative methods. I mean, there's the Tor, right? The onion router. You can use that to avoid a lot of this suppression too. That's another thing. Yeah, you folks everyone should have Tor. I got to tell you, in the event of, right, it's always good to have some kind of emergency backup, just like for food and water. Communication, kind of important. Has some backup, has some redundancy. But, okay, back. Oh, yeah, so we've seen this. Hey, Stuart, what's going on, my friend? We now have a permanent Liberal Party government. Seems like it. Seems like, comrade. Right? Actually, I guess we can't even say comrade, because that's the thing. Everyone likes to call Trudeau and his regime communist, but no, they're fucking fascist. I mean, think about it. There's no worker party taking over any businesses in this country, right? Or there's no, like the proletariat. No, it's the fascistic model where you use government to control, and you create these entities called corporations, which puts on the pretense that they're like private sector businesses, but in reality, they're entities created and formed by an act of legislation. So that's how you control business, is through the fascistic model, right? I mean, corporatism, cronyism, but fascism is how they did it, right? That's how the fascistic model works. So, or like I say, Nazis, fascists, it was, you don't take over. It wasn't communism. It was, like I say, the fascist model, the Nazi model. And that's what the Trudeau regime, matter of fact, that's what most Western regimes have turned and pivoted towards today. Not communism. I don't know why people keep calling it communism, right? Like I say, all these things have real world examples and defined meanings. Figure it out. Do they correlate? Do they look like it's the same thing? No. You got to go by what does it actually, does it walk like a duck? Does it quack like a duck? Well, then it's probably a duck. Right? Anyways, but yeah, thanks for joining the stream there. And yeah, comrade, they pretend to pay us, we pretend to work. Right? Ay. USA in 2014 helped with a coup, brought down the leader. Ukraine people voted for because, I know. Yeah, I just pretty much covered that there, Pump Master. Okay, at least they arrested, all those bouncy castle terrorists. Oh, scary bunch, huh? Joke, I guess we joke, but that is a sad thing. People like you make me feel less alone in this crazy world. Thank you for your content, brother. Cheers and good night. Oh, my pleasure, John Doe. I'm glad I can do something to kind of help alleviate your concerns, or at least to feel not alone, because that is a really important thing. And I think about that. Putting all jokes aside, you know, we all put on our facades and our best faces and put our, you know, whatever, right? Stoicism or whatever, right? In reality, we're all humans. We all have emotions. We all bleed. We all hurt. And yeah, some of this stuff, it's been really difficult on a tremendous lot of people, right? And especially I think about, I'm kind of fortunate because I have some really good people in my life, you know. So when I'm having a hard time, it's great to know I have those people around me. But I think, well, could you imagine going through this fucking hell, the hell of this world, the gaslighting, the way, just the mental and emotional manipulation, the nonstop, like I say, and like I say, the devastation and the destruction of all of our social and economic freedoms. Like, I can imagine what it must be like for people. I don't know, like say if John Doe's, you know, lives alone or anything like that, but I know there are a lot of people who do, and you know, maybe have had a falling out with some of their, you know, friends or relatives, and are feeling quite isolated and alone, and that's a terrible, terrible situation to be in. So anything at all that you can do to help yourself escape that kind of conundrum, definitely do it. Whatever it takes, whatever it takes. That's the thing. You're the one that has to live in your head. And I still to this day have to constantly remind myself of this on a daily basis. Don't let them live too much into your head. Don't let them dig that deep into it where they've set up permanent fucking residence and are fucking with your head so badly. Don't let them do it. Don't let them do it. Take the time, you know, to give your mind the space, you know, so that it can repair some of the harms that have been caused. That's really important. And mental health is something that's really center stage today. And it's something that, you know, maybe we need to get talking about more at some point in time. But for now, I'm sticking with this Ukraine conflict, at least for today, anyways. See how it goes. 80% liberal voters, same reason U.S. border remains open. Yeah. That's the other thing with these borders and saying, and here's my consistency, right? When people were already saying, oh, well, let's bring all these Ukrainian refugees or you know, ones that are fleeing conflict, bring them all to Canada, you know? Now, when I would say I'm against mass immigration, like the blanket, I'm just going to arbitrarily, because we live in a welfare state, right? In the absence of a state or the ability to forcefully redistribute wealth or pick winners or losers in the economy, in the absence of all that, I don't care who lives where. But in the real world we live in, where there is a state, where there are borders, where there are boundaries that exist, and there is a welfare state, and there is forced wealth and income redistribution, yeah, doesn't matter. Like I say, it was no different if it's Syrian refugees. It's no different if it's Iraqis, migrants from Africa, or in this example today, Ukrainian people who, yeah, just as white as I am, but I'll say the exact same thing for them as I would for anyone else. Or not them per se, because this isn't directed at them. I feel bad for the people, but for the government in this country or the people who are promoting or touting to bring them here, it's like, well, if you want to privately sponsor them and take care of them, then you go right the fuck ahead and you pay for their house. Or actually, that wouldn't even help either, because once again, you're still affecting people in a multitudes of ways. So I'm against, like I say, these arbitrary immigration concepts or bringing migrants to this country, like I say, and it doesn't matter what color their skin is or where they come from geographically. It wouldn't matter, like I say, my heritage is Irish and Scottish. It wouldn't matter if it was Irish people. Once you recognize that you live in a state that forcefully redistributes your wealth and your income and forces you to compete with each other for limited amount of resources that the state dictates. That's the thing. We're not living in a free market. There's a limited amount of resources, whether you're talking about housing, right, or jobs, or all that. And that's a direct reflection of government suppressing and intervention in the economy. Like I say, in the absence of all that, whatever, doesn't matter to me, because then the state isn't such an overarching threat, and those immigrants coming here wouldn't be such a direct threat as well. And once again, that's not to suggest that immigrants. It's pretty bad. I have to clarify this. But you know what it is? I think once in a while, the reason why I do all this stuff in terms of clarifying, well, not just because I like to clarify anyways, but sometimes I actually hope that there might be some lefty or, maybe someone that typically listens to CBC would listen to my video, although I delude myself probably, right? But like I say, to me, it has nothing to do with race or religion or culture. No, at the end of the day, although culture matters, there are those aspects of, what kind of a person you are, what kind of culture you're into, right? That matters too, of course. But like I say, the big issue with anything when you're talking about mass immigration or a push for an influx of a massive amount of people is the direct effect that it has on the housing market, that it has on jobs and wages and all those things. And like I say, taxation. Who's to pay for all this stuff? Even these weapons that are being sent, like to Ukraine. Who's paying for the weapons? Once again, us. What if you can't even barely afford, right? There's a lot of Canadians think about it. It was a couple of years ago, but there was a point, and it's probably not a whole lot better now. We're literally almost half of the population. We're just a few $100s away from insolvency. Well, if you're that close to being insolvent or poor or living on the street yourself, yeah, the government constantly, picking and plundering that little bit that you have left for yourself to give to someone else. That's bad news for you. Sure, it might sound great, as a greeting card for the person who's the recipient of those proceeds of theft. Not so good for the one it was taken from, though, right? Anyways, yeah. Okay, let me. Okay, Ukraine are asking Israel to get involved. Putin comments to Israel, "Why would you fight for Nazis?" That's crazy. I'm actually amazed, and I don't know how this happened. Boy, who did they put in Switzerland that now even apparently Switzerland is not remaining neutral? Although I'm not 100% sure on that one, folks. So let me just move on beyond that because it seems weird for Switzerland after all these years, even after World Wars. Now you're going to step out of your neutrality zone and pick sides. It seems like a bad idea. Anyways, okay. Yeah. Well, are they even really conservatives? That's the thing. I don't even know if you can call these people really. Yeah, March for Freedom in Canada, you'll be arrested. Exactly. But offer to pick up arms and go kill people in Ukraine? No problem. Like I say, what a weird world we live in. What a very strange. Now, let me see, folks. Like I say, I got lots of stuff that I wanted to get to. But yeah. But here, let me bring this up because I found this to be just like unbelievable, right? So this was an article from CBC. Let me find that here. There we go. And this was during the trucker protests in Ottawa. Yeah, this was a thing on CBC radio. It really was, for real. Look at that. Why the word freedom is such a useful rallying cry for protesters. The word has become common among far-right groups, experts say, right? So fight for freedom. So they're saying that as demonstrators against COVID-19 restrictions continue across Canada, the word freedom is on the lips and placards of many protesters. Often associated with protests and rallies in the United States, the term has taken hold among protesters who are part of the Freedom Convoy, which rolled into Ottawa in late January and has become entrenched in the city's downtown. For many, freedom is a malleable term, one that's open to interpretation. So basically, as you're hearing there, like I say, I'll just stop reading from that. So freedom, it's just a phrase, just like honk honk. According to that chick in the House of Commons or whatever, that MP or whatever, is like honk honk is like a euphemism or whatever or it's secret code for Hail Hitler is what she said. Right? Yeah, honk honk is okay. And freedom is just far right talk for what? Nazis. But meanwhile, like I say, so think about this. So the people who are blaming a bunch of just average truck drivers, right, that were protesting peacefully in Ottawa, by them using the word freedom, they were, I guess, Nazis, right? Although there was no violence, there was no nothing like that. Like they weren't trying to take over anything, which unlike some of the hacks in the media tried to espouse, right? Yeah, you find some idiot on the internet that says some ridiculous things and you use them as if it mean, you can find people say really outrageous things. Doesn't mean that everyone takes them serious or that it was really going to happen. Anyways, but yeah, but truckers who fired truckers, people who have lost their jobs, their incomes, their livelihoods, their careers, who went to Ottawa to protest. And the only reason why they were there longer than a few days was because Trudeau wouldn't even, nobody would even give them the time of day to meet with them and to negotiate, to figure out some amicable way that everybody would be happy and you could, alleviate everyone's concern. No. The reason why they were there for so long is because nobody would even give them the time of day until Trudeau invoked the Emergency Act because of these terrible people who wanted freedom. These terrible Nazis who wanted freedom. Meanwhile, actual real fucking Nazis, right, in Ukraine today, and I'm not saying everyone in Ukraine that's fighting against Russia are Nazis, right? I don't know. Right? See how I'm being nuanced like that? Something the fucking establishment media never would do. But I'll point out the fact, because see, that's the thing. I don't like doing that to people. It sounds terrible when I do it. That's why my brain automatically clicks in. It's like, no, Bennett, not everyone. So I will point out. Matter of fact, even the overwhelming majority of Ukrainians who are fighting against Russia right now are just fighting because they see an invasion and they just want to protect and defend themselves in some sense of camaraderie or nationalism or community, whatever their excuse or reason for, right? Or to defend their family or their jurisdiction. Like I say, I would suggest most people are just doing it for good reasons or reasons out of necessity. But yes, there are factually right now, there are Nazis in Ukraine. I mean, that's been reported on, like I say, not just in The Guardian, but multiple other establishment media publications. So we know there are Nazis regimes that are in Ukraine, right? And they, of course, would be claiming that they're fighting for freedom too. Now, you're not hearing anyone in the establishment media pointing that out, but they'll point out the fact that these truck drivers who aren't Nazis and weren't being violent or weren't bringing weapons to the table or anything like that, right? They're the bad people. But yet, right, over in Ukraine, real Nazis, it's just so mind-numbingly insane. It's hard to comprehend. I can't. You got to understand why Canadians are so massively confused about things these days. And I mean, here's another article. Let me bring this one from CBC. Like the constant escalation. Yeah. Trudeau loves practicing some authority, right? So here we go. Canada to ban Russian oil imports, send anti-tank weapons and ammunition to Ukraine, says Trudeau. In just weeks, Canada shifted to a policy of sending lethal aid to Ukraine. Now, first of all, let me say about this. I read already into this. So all they're doing is banning a certain aspect of the oil imports. There's lots of other aspects of oil and petroleum, because that's the thing. Is it refined? Right? Or is it crude, raw crude? There are lots of things that are actually still going to be coming to here. But to me, that's the thing. When it comes to markets, I don't get into this shit. I believe that free trade is something that should take place. And to me, if it wasn't for the fact that state actors are involved, people should be able to get their petroleum from whatever source they damn well want to, whether it's halfway around the world or in your backyard. To me, I don't believe in this blind nationalism that we just got to all use Canadian oil. All right. Well, if we all put it this way, we got to that point, you would find that the Canadian oil producers, as they got cozier and cozier with the state and there was no other source of energy, you'd find out the prices would constantly, just like anything else in this fucking country that the state or these corporations have total monopoly or control over, you would see the same thing. And it'd be even fucking probably worse than it is now. So I don't play into those stupid games. I believe in genuine free markets. Now, if there's state actors involved, yes, that's where we get into the part where you got to be much more nuanced. And there are things where you got to take principled positions against or for. But once again, this pretense of banning the Russian oil imports, well, think about that. Even if let's say the Trudeau regime completely banned everything that has to do with Russia in terms of oil imports. Well, we know it's about 800,000 barrels a day that Canada imports. But yet, They canceled the Keystone XL. They canceled the Energy East pipeline. And what's it? The Trans Mountain one, right? That's the one that's supposed to go out to the West Coast. So 3 major pipelines that would have given Canada the ability, right, to have that capacity increased. Well, now we're seeing that 100,000. Well, if we reduce right now and we don't have more, because that's the thing. All these businesses aren't even allowed to start new projects. There's environmentalists that are like you see, and then you got the Coastal GasLink protesters. There are so many people so well entrenched on the left and in these government positions or these activists who are trying to prevent any increase of productivity or output in Canada. So that's the thing. If there's no increase of productivity or output, I should say output actually, if there's no increase in output in terms of oil in Canada, and we lose access to another 800,000 barrels, well, let's put on our market caps, right? Supply and demand. And that's unavoidable. That's, like I say, you won't even hear anyone deny that supply and demand is a real thing, because it's a really easy thing to prove. Right? So if you take 800,000 barrels off the table, what's that going to do? What we're already paying on the East Coast here, upwards of $1.60 a liter. And diesel up over $1.70. Who knows what it's at now? It's been a little while since I was down to get any. But I mean, when you're talking these kind of prices, and then you got carbon taxes, the Trudeau carbon tax that they're going to implement even more, right? Harsher. Then you got all this inflation, these other inflationary aspects where your money's bleeding out every which way but loose on your food, everything, right? You're seeing the price. I mean, what was it? 6 point something percent in Canada, the end of the year inflation, just ridiculous. And they say Canada's growth. Anyways, so once again, what will that do? It will cause it more expensive for you, like I say, to heat your home, if you use oil or natural gas or all these petroleum products, right? It will cause you, it'll be more expensive for you to heat your home, more expensive to put gas in your car, more expensive for anything, any machinery to operate, which is going to increase the price. So you're just making things more expensive for Canadians. That's what Trudeau is fucking doing right now. As a matter of fact, with the help of some of these other central planning dick shits or these statists or these state actors around the world, they're the ones that are making our lives more difficult and much more expensive, arbitrarily at that and needlessly. And then sending anti-tank weapons. Once again, that's you're really genuinely beating on the drums of war when you're actually sending weapons to a country in a conflict. Matter of fact, I don't know how they're getting away with this stuff, because technically you're not supposed to be able to do this stuff, without, some formal, agreement. Like there were rules, drawn up after World War II to prevent people from just arbitrarily getting involved with conflicts, right? I mean, but anyways, it is what it is, I guess. So like we truly do live in the time of lawlessness. And then so they're sending lethal aid, the oil imports. What else was I want to cover? Oh, wait a minute. But they said anti-tank weapons. And we'll send a third shipment. So they are lethal weapons. Trudeau said the armed forces will provide airlift support to transport supplies needed to particular NATO efforts. Oh, they're probably just taking them. Yeah. Anyways. No crude oil. Trudeau said Canada will also ban Russian oil imports, natural resources. Look, actually, this is here. This is perfect. I'm glad I read a little further down to this. No crude oil from Russia since 2019. Trudeau said Canada will also ban Russian oil imports. Natural Resource Minister Jonathan Wilkinson said during question period in the House of Commons earlier Monday that Canada has not received a shipment of Russian crude oil since 2019. So I don't know, fake it till you make it, I guess. Apparently it's not, it's just a big nothing burger. So no natural gas, no refined. So this is what it is: crude oil and bitumen. Oh no, so they didn't even get any of that. Energy products. So they're importing energy products, but no, all of these things they haven't banned, well, except for, I guess, refined petroleum energy products. Like I say, it's just also freaking insane. Okay, where else were we going here? Court extends. Oh yeah, that's another thing too. I'll just read this real quick too. So court extends rare order to freeze up to $20 million in crypto cash donations to Freedom Convoy. Injunction issued by Ontario Superior Court judge now runs until at least March the 9th. So this is still in effect, folks, even though the Emergencies Act is supposedly withdrawn and revoked. But yet, this continues. Like I say, I'll definitely place a link to this in the description as well. An Ontario Superior Court judge has extended a rare injunction that has frozen millions of dollars of cryptocurrencies and other financial donations to the so-called Freedom Convoy. The Mareva injunction was issued on February 17th by Justice Callum McLeod. Callum McLeod. Is that the Callum McLeod? That name sounds familiar. Law firm Lenzer Slot brought this motion forward, acting for Champion Associates, the law firm representing Ottawa residents in a proposed class action lawsuit against convoy leaders and protesters. On Monday, McLeod extended the order until March 9th to give defendants more time to consult with their lawyers. The injunction restricting convoy leaders and its fundraisers from selling, removing, dissipating, alienating, transferring, assigning up to $20 million in assets raised around the world stem from the proposed class action lawsuit led by Ottawa public servant Zex Lee. Yeah, that's right. It took one government public sector employee to do all this. Right? A lefty judge, a lefty government worker. Like I say, they're just, I mean, like one thing's for sure, the facade is off now. The facade is completely lifted. There's no pretense that Canada's anything. This is the kind of shit that you would read about in a country such as Russia. This kind of fucking corruption, this kind of top-down micromanagement and political targeting, right? This, like, holy shit. When Trudeau said he's an admirer of China's basic dictatorship, well, yeah, he wasn't bullshitting, obviously. Okay, what else do we got here? How to avoid spreading misinformation about Ukraine. Oh, I wanted to show you folks this one too. Actually, let me see here. She's untouchable. Who's untouchable? I must be missing out on something here. Curiosity. Yeah, March for Ukraine, and it's okay, obviously, because of science. Yeah, you saw that too, right, Terry? Yeah, it was Chrystia Freeland and a bunch of them out there. Oh, John Tory, right? Marching out there. Now, I know I seen someone say that there was a Nazi, what was it, a scarf or some banner that she was holding up. I think it was True North News. I'm not even going to get into that stuff yet, just in case, because I'm not 100% sure if that was true or legit, and I don't like, misrepresenting facts. But yeah, I mean, right? Marching for Ukraine, that's okay. But marching for your freedoms in Canada, or not even just marching, actually just parking your truck or, having a peaceful protest, right? No, that's not allowed. Matter of fact, that will bring you not just the ire and anger from these authoritarians, from the likes of Freeland, but like I say, or Trudeau, but will cause them to get so angry with you for daring to do so that they will invoke the Emergency Act, seize your bank accounts, beat you down, have you trampled on, and possibly thrown in jail with no chance of bail. Yeah, that actually happens in Canada. Oh, that's Canada, folks, not Russia. That's Canada. These freedoms people need to honor their own dictum, allow others to be free. That's the key. That's the key, Stuart. The only way, this is something I've known my whole life, even when I was too young to know that I knew this. But now that I'm old enough and have thought about it deeply enough, it's like I've kind of been that way my whole life. And I think I instinctively recognize that. Yeah, the only way you're going to achieve or attain your freedoms is, at the least, the bare minimum is you have to be willing to do that for others, to allow them to have their freedoms as well. Which is why I am surrounded by people who are like-minded, and we respect each other that way. That's the beauty of it, is when you're that kind of person, when you have that live, let live mentality or personality, then that's the kind of people who will gravitate towards you if you stick truly to your principles. And that's one thing I've been really wise about in the last 10 years, is sticking to your principles. I used to yield my principles to become more popular with groups, and it worked out great. I mean, if I just, like I say, if I just, we just talked about biking or four-wheeling or racing cars, as long as we never talked about anything of really genuine importance, like when you talk about like freedom and liberty, oh, it's so easy to make friends, right? Just dumb yourself down, do whatever you agree with, and never have any disagreements, right? Or in-depth discussions. And that works. And I imagine that's how most people get along. But then, like I say, when things happen really bad in your life, like when I lost my license, right? My livelihood, my career, had my whole life upended because of an impaired charge. Yeah, no accident, didn't cause no harm to no one, folks. Just an arbitrary charge. Oh, I had more alcohol than my master told me I should have, right? And it was over some arbitrary number. So I lost, like I say, I found out real quick who my genuine true friends were, who the people who truly cared for me were. I found that out. And it was like, it was disturbing. It was a hard situation to deal with, because I thought all those years that I was so popular and had so many friends, which it seemed that way. I mean, I used to hang out with people from multiple jurisdictions, not just my own local community, but I would go to other communities. I basically, like I say, hoard myself around. Well, I so enjoy competitive sports that I would just seek out anyone in any community within an hour or two range that was into that kind of stuff. And I would, like I say, what I found out is, yeah, these are people that, yeah, as long as you're, doing the same thing that they're doing, sharing the same kind of things that they enjoy in terms of activities, you can seemingly get along well, just like with most people in your society or your community or your family. But the minute you challenge them on anything that's important, anything that has to do with principles or ethics or morality, right? Like I say, that's when you find out who among you are truly principled, who among you will really respect you, as a sovereign individual. And like I say, it took me a little while to learn that. I went through I wasn't lonely, but it felt like that early on because I lost people that I thought were my friends, right? But actually, in the interim and right up till now, I'm much better off, because now I actually genuinely know and I believe that I can trust the people who I align myself with these days. I don't have to constantly be not just looking over my shoulders or stuff or things like that, but I also don't have to, although I never really did much of that, but I also know that I don't have to suppress me. I don't have to stop being me for these people. These people accept me for who the hell I am, and I accept them for who they are. And that's a beautiful thing. Sorry, I went on a bit of a tear there, Stuart. That's crazy when you get into my mind from time to time, I guess. But yeah. Allow people to be free. It shouldn't be that hard. Trudeau blames Amir because, yeah. Ukraine, the government there for sure. And I know that's what you mean, right? Trump, that would be the government, right? I wonder where all oil vodka went. And that's another thing. I'm glad someone pointed that out. I wonder where all the Russian vodka went. They took off the shelves like it's not being trained by somebody. Exactly. But that's the other thing someone's pointing out. If there's alcohol on the shelves there in the LCBO, you're not hurting Russia because that's already been bought and paid for. Right? It's on the shelf and bought and paid for. You might have been able to harm them by not ordering any new shipments, but by destroying the stuff that you've already paid for, you're not hurting Putin there. That seems really stupid anyways, doesn't it? Like that, ooh, it is. It's just symbolism for a bunch of fucking simple-minded people. That's all it is. The NBCs of the world. The U.S. can't have Russia be energy independent. Well, actually, I was thinking about that. I'm glad you kind of brought that up, because here's the thing. when we think about it, and because in Canada, we typically would consider ourselves closely aligned with America, it almost sounds instinctive or intuitive to think, yes, US hegemony is a good idea, right? But then once again, I always think, yeah, but because I'm fully entrenched and my mind is deeply entrenched in the concept of competition, as you know, because I love racing, I love competition, right? It's like, wait a minute, though. It's just like with anything. If there's only one superpower in the world, it could be good, maybe for a while. But once again, anything that's a monopoly, usually turns out bad, right? Turns out bad. So, like I say, maybe having two superpowers in the world, at least, actually, maybe more, would be the better idea. I know it sounds a little counterintuitive here, but just give me a moment, right? But think about it, right? Just like that concept I've talked about before, if you had 100 people in the room, if only one person has the gun in a room, then that's the one that's going to control the room. It's the big gun, right? Whereas if everybody in the room has a gun, then, well, there is no necessarily one-off dictator that can control everyone in the room. Then everyone's kind of got to treat each other with a little bit of dignity and respect because, well, everyone's got a weapon to use against each other. Having at least two world powers, at least creates some form of competition. And like I've said, folks, in most areas, not all, but in most areas, competition is a good thing. And in terms of, like I say, if you're going to think about it, if you're going to have a master or even the one world government or the new world order, wouldn't you want at least a couple of them, right? And hopefully different ones. So it's like one's better than the other, one's worse than the other, because they're never going to be the exact same, right? That's never going to happen. So at least even with just two superpowers, one might be more closer. They could still be both authoritarian, but one might be closer to like freedom by at least a small margin or degree. Not saying that either one would be a proper or appropriate choice to have to make, but I don't think having a one size fits all approach for anything other than, principles in terms of ethics and morality. But then again, that's not even a one way approach. That's just in terms of how we think about things. But to be honest with you, the more I think about it, I'm not sure it's a good idea to have just one giant global superpower. Right? But yeah, thanks for helping me to think a little bit more about that. Trump for Alberta. Putin is an environmentalist, for God's sake. That don't matter. Trudeau's a Marxist. This is posturing. Yeah. Slave masters are fighting. Yes, slave masters are fighting each. Exactly. If the masters are fighting each other, hey, maybe they're not beating the slaves as much, right? I don't know. I know that sounds weird, but how's everyone enjoying the movie? Yeah, exactly, Joe Creep, but sure as hell seems like it could be one. Okay, I'm scrolling way down here, though, folks, because I know I'm a little bit far behind here. What are we at, an hour and 23? Probably won't keep this stream going too much longer. I think I covered quite a bit of stuff, but I was all working... starting to subside a little bit. You do a great job. Keep up the good work. Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Okay, quick reaction by Canada serves no purpose. Yeah. Take the vodka off shelves. That should teach. I know. What stupidity is right. You do a great job. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much, Joe Creep. Okay. Oh, did anyone? Oh, you got popcorn, Elizabeth. Right on. Hey, did anyone? I haven't checked yet, but has anyone seen has the data dump happened yet? I was watching for that all day because today's supposed to be the day that the big data dump happens, right? In terms of Pfizer, but I have not, to be honest with you, been because I've been doing the stream and getting ready for it. I haven't really been on the internet checking that stuff as of yet. Oh, I wanted to show you this too, folks. It's so crazy how political things are getting here. Let me show you this. I'm going to bring up Twitter. Okay. So check this out. I was like, what? First of all, it had to do with jabs. But not only have they gone political in terms of the jabs, and I mean, it's not even just political organizations, but even corporations. And well, I mean, the zoo is basically a public, private, government corporation thing. Anyways, but yeah, check this out. Let me just make sure you folks can see that here. Make it a little bigger. Okay, no, that's good. That's good size there. So yeah, look at this. So first of all, while as of March 1st, the Ontario government is lifting its requirement for certain businesses under the regulations to provide proof of vaccine, your Toronto Zoo will continue with all of the current health and safety protocols, including proof of vaccination and masking. First of all, unbelievable, right? I mean, other than the pavilions, for the most part, you're outdoors at a zoo, right? But anyways, but yeah, even when the government and everyone's getting rid of it, the zoo, they're going to keep. Well, first of all, I've been to the Toronto Zoo plenty times. Have no real reason to go there ever again, and I won't as long as they're going to play this fucking stupid shit. But on top of that, not only are they playing politics, right? In terms of the COVID-19 and the vaccine passports and shit, but look at this. Can you see this? Did you notice this? When I was reading this, I was like, wait a minute. The Toronto Zoo, when I lived in Toronto, and it wasn't that long ago, I've only been back here in New Brunswick since 2019, so it wasn't that long ago. And the zoo, that whole time that I lived up there for many years, the signs are green with white writing, right? That's the Toronto Zoo. Green, white writing. Funny though, the Toronto Zoo now is a particular shade of blue and yellow. A particular shade of blue and yellow. Oh yeah, the Ukraine flag is that same particular shade of blue and yellow. Coincidence? Obviously not. Like, how fucking crazy is that? They're even politicizing the sign for the Toronto Zoo to support one side of a war. All of the institutions, even the zoo, have been captured by these authoritarian collectivists in Canada. They're filled it. I mean, Jordan Peterson pointed out, not just Jordan Peterson, but the halls of academia and the universities, all levels of education have been taken over by these authoritarian collectivists. And like I say, all these other institutions and entities, or quasi-government entities or corporate entities, which once again, I repeat myself, because just like I've said multiple times before, and anyone that did suggest that I'm wrong, just look it up for yourself. Corporation is an act of legislation. Government creates corporations, but all these things, look at them, have all been captured and are all political. So yeah, a lot of it is, and what, just like I've said so many times, and I'm so happy to see other people finally getting to the point I've been for a long time now. And you folks that have been paying attention to me know I've said this for a long time, is no, it's not about tearing down. It's not about tearing down the Toronto Zoo. It's about creating another zoo somewhere else in some jurisdiction. Like I say, we have to, every time we see these institutions, these entities, like I say, banksters, corporations, the zoo, education, all these institutions and entities that have been taken over by authoritarian collectivists, don't worry about tearing them down. They will crumble under their own weight of authoritarianism. All we need to do is build something alongside them, just like with Bitcoin. You don't have to destroy the Canadian currency or the American currency. No, you just need to find alternative means and methods to use as a currency, right? As a medium exchange, as a means to exchange value, to retain value, and to measure value, right? It's just a matter of building structures and institutions alongside ones that are conducive to freedom, to the free market. That's what we do. They can allow them to have their failing and faltering institutions, because we don't want nothing. It would be a complete waste of time and resources to prop up these failing institutions. No, we have to build a new, because I guarantee it'll be not just in terms of monetary cost, but in terms of the bullshit that it would take to try to reform these things. It's much better just to build new, and let them falter and fail under, like I say, their own weight. But yeah, wild, right? Wild. The zoo is politicizing not just COVID, but the conflict in between Russia and Ukraine. Wow, right? Wow. Nuts, folks. All right, just going to my profile. I'm just scrolling here because I'm just want to make sure there wasn't a couple other things before I tie the stream up. Okay. Oh yeah, like I say, third accused convoy leader. Do I have that already up here? I better bring that one up. But yeah, third accused convoy leader, Tyson Freedom George Billings denied bail. So there's another guy denied bail there that was part of the protests in Ottawa. Oh yeah. This one's from Medscape, antibodies derived from natural COVID. No, that's dealing with something else. I won't worry about that. Yeah, I saw this actually. Here, let me bring this back up. Share. All right, let me bring this back up real quick. So yeah, so there was this. 1 in 4 support Canadian Armed Forces joining to fight against Russia. Poll finds National Post. So National Post put a poll, right? And it apparently showed 1 in 4 Canadians support the Canadian Armed Forces joining the fight. Well, just like I said here, I hear the Ukrainian government is willing to waive visas and give anyone a gun to fight the Russians. I wonder how many of these people are willing to actually go over there themselves. That's the thing. It's so fucking hilarious that, oh, yeah, I'm voting for, or yeah, I support that guy going to kill other people and possibly dying himself. Yeah, I support that. But the question to me would be, would you do it yourself? No? Well, then I'm fucking doing shit for you. That's the other part that like I say, think about the psychology of the people today that would typically be the ones that you would send into a conflict. Think about the typical Canadian Forces members, right? And how the Trudeau regime and their supporters have treated them. Do you think they're ambitious right now to do anything that Trudeau would ask of them? Right? They're going to have a serious mental conflict. And you don't want to send a bunch of people into a military conflict when they're having emotional or mental conflicts, or don't even have the proper inspiration or motives to invigorate them or to inspire them to want to fight. They're not feeling the love in their country. They're not feeling the national pride or sentiment anymore because Trudeau literally beat it the fuck out of them. Him and his henchmen beat it out of them. And then you got a bunch of Canadians saying, oh, yeah, we want you to go fight in a foreign war. After you just beat down the morale and demoralize them. What? So they can be cannon fodder for Russia? I don't know what good it would fucking do. Anyways, like, it's just wild, folks. Wild. Yeah, I love this one too. Capitalists will save the world, not governments. Starlink service is now active in Ukraine. More terminals than rates. Right on. Oh, you see this one too. This for all the lefties. You can have a whole new profile picture. I support the current thing. This is shared by Tom Woods. Tom, they still haven't given you the check mark, buddy. Tom Woods, he's another great libertarian. And then, like I say, Medscape. No, that has nothing to do with Ukraine. We'll stick that. We'll deal with that on another thing. Oh, this is a great one, actually. I would have read it, but it was a pretty long read. But I'll try to make sure to remember. I got the Barry Weiss one here. Oh, if not, I'll pop that out right now and I'll share it. But yeah, the West Green delusions empowered Putin. And Barry Weiss was the one that was the contributor to the New York Times and left there due to cancel culture and all that craziness. And now stepped out on her own and puts her content up on Substack. Oh, last thing, folks, before I go, and yeah, I'm going to tie this stream up here now. I definitely want to make sure that you folks get to see this because, yeah, while we're distracted with what's going on in Ukraine, yeah, Bill C-10, C-11, media censorship bill that would eliminate alternative media. And yeah, these are still in the go, still possibly being implemented. They're introduced. I think that's in second reading right now. I believe this one. And I think Bill S-233, the guaranteed basic income. Remember the plan, folks. Remember the plan. Looks like the plan is still a go. Because Bill S-233, now not exactly on the timeline, there's been a few hiccups, but the guaranteed basic income and social credit score. Look at that. Guaranteed basic income and social credit score. Now, I don't know if that social credit score is actually included into that bill, to be honest with you. I don't remember seeing that part of it. That might be someone just being like a little hyperbolic there, right? But the guaranteed basic income thing, that is definitely real. That is a definite real thing that's happening. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find that. Okay. Give me a sec here, folks. Oh, wait, I'm on Twitter here. Let me get rid of the Twitter thing. Okay. Oh, that's another thing, actually. I wanted to point this out. So Bell, Rogers, Shaw, and TELUS have all pulled RT from their cable packages. So if you're still paying for the dinosaur cable packages, yeah, they have the ability to control that shit too, I guess. There was, like I say, there was one other thing with that bill, and I just wanted to bring it up. Bill, there it is. Yeah, okay, I'm going to bring this up here. I'm going to bring this up here, folks, because, yeah. Oh, I got to bring this off. Stop. Okay, share. Share. There we go. So here we go. Yeah, so as you can see, there isn't that extra aspect of it included. And actually, November 22 present. So I guess the first reading was completed on December 16th. It hasn't reached. So it has not reached. Right now, I guess it's only in its first reading. And that was completed on December 16th. Okay, so where's that Bill C-11? Let me try. Let me see if I search this one. C-11. There we go. Yeah, so here we are. So this C-11, let me make sure you folks can see this. Yeah, there we go. So as you can see, this Bill C-11, an act to amend the Broadcasting Act to make related and consequential amendments to other acts. So this is the one, like I say, about really fucking with our ability to have a free and open internet. This is a really, really dangerous threat to our online freedoms right here. And as you're seeing right here, it's in the second reading in progress. So the first reading was sitting date was February 16th and February 28th, 2022. So they're saying that the second reading is in progress. So they're in the second reading. I guess it's got to go to a third reading, and then it will have to go to the Senate. But yeah, these are things that are all coming through. And then, of course, the other one they mentioned, which was that Bill C-36, which is to bring about another suppression of speech, which is this pretense of a hate speech law that was actually was already a bill in Canada, and I believe it was the Harper regime that got rid of that, and I think it was called Bill C-13 back then. But yeah, they're trying to bring it back. So once again, pay attention to what else is taking place for sure, but don't get so distracted that you forget about the fact that things like that are taking place as well. Because they're going to definitely take advantage of the fact that, like I say, our minds are all wandering elsewhere, and they recognize that, people's attention spans quite short these days. So keep all this stuff in mind. And you know me, I'm going to be here. If you don't remember, I will. No, but I'm going to make sure that I stay on top of this stuff as best I can, But I definitely entice you folks to do the same because this stuff is really important. Hey, what's going on, Denny Ringas? Denny, my friend, Denny. I knew of a guy, Denny, up in Ajax. He's a great guy. Denny Ringas. You're not him, though, right? No, I don't think so. This is mind control. Yeah, no kidding. Hey, Gato, how you doing, man? I haven't seen you in a long time. Okay. Sucker for punishment. Lots of restaurants are opting for the restrictions. They will, but let me tell you this. I don't have any fucking magic powers, but if things actually get to the point where everything is truly wide open and freed up, they'll do it for a while. but if they notice that it affects their bottom line or other businesses are doing better and they're seeing their fortunes increase while theirs are declining, they won't stick to that program very long. Like I say, they're saying that now. They're virtual signaling to these people. But once again, once they realize how many, that's the thing. The media tries to present these pro-lockdowners, these pro-mandate people, these people that want to be masked for the whole life. The media constantly tries to present the scenario that they all are in full support of it. Now, I believe the overwhelming majority of the Canadian people aren't in full support of it. They just virtue signal there. They pretend they are. But in reality, they want these restrictions gone just as much as anyone else. And the ones that are pretending that they don't, the only reason why they're saying that is because someone on the other side of the political aisle that they hate, that they loathe, is saying the opposite. So they feel they got to say the exact opposite. Because no people, come on, what kind of insane person would you have to be to say, I want to be locked down forever? I mean, other than some government workers that are enjoying the fact they don't have to go into the office and deal with a bunch of other authoritarian collectivists. Could you imagine being a government worker working with a bunch of other government workers? I can imagine. I totally understand why they never want to go back into that fucking workplace. I totally get that. But come on, the overwhelming majority of Canadians, even the ones that are saying, oh, I'll still try to do the right thing. Once they look around and everyone else is acting free as you and I are, they're like, all right, that's it. I'm not playing this game no more. Shit. That's going to happen. So yeah, Stuart, I'm sure they're saying that. We even had one here in New Brunswick. What was it? The Byward Market, the Ward Market. Anyways, it's kind of like a little, like a food market, flea market, not a flea market, like I don't know, little market where people put on their little stalls and they put on their crafts and sell their wares and stuff. But yeah, in Fredericton, like when they were going to do the vaccine passports and all that stuff, and they were going to do it, but then once it was gone, or there was the pretense that it wasn't going to exist, they were like, well, what, I wanted to have it, but I can't, I guess I can't, because if I do it and no one else is doing it, they all recognize that even the ones that would like to keep it, it's like, well, I'm not going to shoot myself in the foot that hard. that would hurt. So, like I say, lots of virtue signaling out there, but we'll see how that actually plays out in real life, right? Anyways, folks, I want all you fine and beautiful people. Like I say, I'm so glad to have you people to come spend time with me for these streams and to like I say, bounce ideas and information off each other. That's why I'm always looking in these comments, because you folks say some stuff that really makes me think about things, and I need that, because sometimes my brain just goes all over the place. I get so many thoughts running through my head that it's hard to keep them organized sometimes, right? But it's nice to have some of you folks help ground me, and I hope I do the same for you. But yeah, I'm gonna end this stream there now. Like I say, I got lots to think about, lots to do. Try to get back into doing these streams, but at the same time, when things are getting crazy, I usually sometimes I'll take a little break, step back, and kind of let you folks and myself, we need to take the time to absorb some of this information, right? Jumping on board to these things, especially if I'm not privy to the proper amount of knowledge. That's why I don't feel comfortable doing this. I really don't, because the last thing I ever want to do is to misinform or misrepresent facts, right? That's because that can be bad stuff when you're talking about very serious situations. But anyways, you folks have a great day and the rest of the week, and I'll see you in the next live stream or possibly the next video, depending on which one I do first. Canadian Libertarian, and I love liberty.